Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sanctuary. I'm your host, Professor C, and we're going to do some more A&P today. Specifically, we're going to check out the next group of muscles known as the muscles of mastication. That would be the chewing muscles. So, let's check it out. Okay, let's start off this lecture with a question that's been asked by a lot of people a lot of times. What is the strongest muscle in the body? Now, you may have heard that it has to do with chewing, which maybe is why I'm opening this chewing muscles talk with this question, but the answer is going to be a little trickier than it sounds. So the answer first would be depends on who you ask, of course. Now, if you ask this guy, or maybe this guy, they might agree with what we've heard, that the chewing muscles are the strongest muscles in the body. But is it true? And yes, I know that a shark does not have the same musculature that a lion does, but we're just speaking hypothetically here. Okay, Bruce Lee. I've never seen him win a fight by using his jaw. Now, I have seen him use his jaw to talk smack before he kicks the holy nightmare out of somebody, but I've never actually seen him get a KO by flexing his jaw, right? I mean, the strong man here carrying these huge objects across the room is not using his jaw except to clench up a little bit. And this boxer here is using core muscles more than anything. Mainly his jaw is protected behind the gloves during the fight. So what is the answer to this? Well, let's get a little bit more specific now. If you're talking about raw performance, I think you would give the award to the eye muscles that we saw 2 talks ago. Some of those muscles, when you're doing just an hour's worth of reading, can move up to 10,000 times. That's pretty impressive performance-wise. However, there's also like the dynamic strength of the heart, where we just continue to beat and beat and beat and beat without fatiguing for our entire lifetime. And this can lead to up to 3 billion heartbeats in a normal person's lifespan. Pretty strong. What about elastic strength? On the left, we see the woman doing the lunge there. She's using primarily gluteus maximus, the butt muscle, right? And humans have a large butt muscle because we are one of the few animals that do walk uprightly. We're actually the only animal that walks completely uprightly bipedally. Think about it. You can go from sitting to full sprint using your gluteal muscles in a matter of seconds. Over here, we see the calf muscles, as they're called in common terms. Not these guys that I'm circling here. This is called gastrocnemius, and we'll explore them later. But underneath here, there's a large flat muscle that connects down here to Achilles tendon, or tendocalcaneus, called soleus. Soleus actually has the greatest pulling force of any of the muscles, and you use that for, of course, walking and dancing and so forth. But there we go. Finally, I see the guy biting an apple over here, using the muscle that's located here, but we can't see it on the other side because he's got his apple blocking it. This is called the masseter. And it does, for its weight, have the largest force per weight. The technical term for chewing is called mastication. So when you see the muscles of mastication, you're speaking of the muscles that help you to chew. And there will be 4 pairs of these, right? One on the left, one on the right, that humans use to chew their food primarily. So each of them will be innervated or powered by the trigeminal nerve. That's cranial nerve number 5. Sometimes you see this written as V3, Roman numeral 5, and some people call it nerve V3, even though it's 5 for cranial nerve 5, and there will be 3 branches of it, like trigeminal suggests. The prime movers, meaning the big boys that are going to do most of the power behind the chewing, are temporalis and masseter, the one I just mentioned. But there will be some smaller ones kind of deeper inside, helping you move the food from side to side in your mouth, doing more of a grinding motion instead of a raw chewing or biting motion. And these are known as your pterygoids, and there's 2 sets. There's a medial and lateral set of pterygoid muscles. Here we can see the big ones, the prime movers. So let's check out temporalis, which will be the one right here that I'm putting a red line around, which makes sense if you know where your temples are, or you know the edge of the temporal fossa, which is what basically I have outlined there. This is where we find a muscle inserted into that spot. So masseter is the one here, and you can feel this if you put your finger right about here on your jaw and bite down. You can feel masseter bulge out from the side of your face. Here are the details. of where these two muscles will originate, insert, what their action will be, and of course we know that innervation is going to be trigeminal for these chewing muscles, but I wanted you to see the details if you need them here. Importantly for us, temporalis will elevate and retract the mandible, pull it up and back. Masseter will elevate and protrude the mandible. That will pull it up and out, push it out a little bit. Okay, the grinding muscles, we have to go back to our old friend the sphenoid bone, the bat bone that we talked about a long time ago. And if you remember down here, almost acting like we talked about chicken legs of the bat hanging down, we see those two pterygoid processes. There are actually 4 of them there if you want to get picky, but they hang down from underneath the sphenoid bone. So we have the lateral pterygoids and the medial pterygoids. The lateral pterygoids will be this pair here, these little guys right there bundled together, and the medials will be down here. Now this guy here that's pulled away is masseter. Masseter has been pulled off of the jaw so we can see what lies underneath the jaw. Okay, here are the details for the lateral and medial pterygoids. Again, we're going to see the nerve being the same trigeminal nerve that innervated the masseter and temporalis. Again, the action is the most important to me right now. Depress, protrude, and grind the mandible. And then the medials will just kind of cheat and say close and grind the mandible. So this is not so much of a up and down motion, but more of a side to side motion. So we can get both of those motions while we're chewing up our food. Now, bruxism, of course, is the grinding of the teeth. And this can lead to pain, it can lead to stiffness and other problems. It can lead to some of your tooth enamel being worn off, and that can lead to other problems in the dental area. So there's 2 types of bruxism. One is called awake bruxism, in which the person is totally awake, totally conscious, walking around doing normal life. And it's thought that this kind of bruxism is semi-voluntary. That means the person at some point is initiating the biting. It's often a stress reaction. And sometimes you can tell if somebody's stressed if you just watch them biting down and you see their muscles bulging in their temporal area, their temporalis, and from their jaw, from the masseter. Now, sleep bruxism is a little bit different, and it's thought to be not voluntary. This is, as it says, they're characterized by a rhythmic masticatory, that is a biting down motion, with a frequency of about once per second, with occasional tooth grinding. So you would do this at night while you're at sleep. That's why some people wear a sleep guard or a mouth guard to protect their teeth from the forces of the bruxism. Now, as we're chewing food, of course, we can't forget about the cheeks. So zygomaticus muscles, zygomaticus major, zygomaticus minor, 2 muscles we talked about in the last talk, the muscles of facial expression. But we see a new one here, BUCCINATOR, and we didn't talk about that one during the muscles of facial expression, but we probably should have. The reason I didn't is because I was saving it for this, and it's hard to see in a lot of the pictures because other muscles are sitting on top of it. So zygomaticus and BUCCINATOR, the 2 cheek muscles, they help hold the food between the teeth as you do your chewing motions. So BUCCINATOR, since it's new to us, it helps us blow, like blow a bubble or blow up a balloon. Helps you whistle a tune. Or if you play an instrument where you have to blow into it, like the horn down here, you would use your big cheekbones here. Louis Armstrong has giant BUCCINATOR muscles from all of his years of blowing through his horn. So let's take a look at BUCCINATOR here before we go. Remember, it is a facial expression muscle. We just skipped out on it, so it is not innervated by a trigeminal. So here is its origin and insertion. And again, one of the reasons we can't see it, because it inserts here on orbicularis oris, that muscle goes around the mouth here and largely blocks it. We also have another muscle that kind of goes down like this, just to illustrate, called risorius. We have another one here called platysma that comes down. We have the zygomaticus muscles and some of the levator and depressor anguli muscles. They all come right there at that spot, and they hide BUCCINATOR, and often it's better just to wait till you get to the muscles of mastication to talk about it. So action, compressed cheek against the teeth. Why would you want to do this? Well, to help to chew, blowing, whistling. For infants, it helps them suckle their mothers. This is innervated by the same nerve that innervated the rest of the muscles of facial expression, the facial nerve, cranial nerve number 7. All right, that made me hungry, so let's go get a snack. Thanks for watching that one. Check out some of the other videos in the series if you want to, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.